The lesson today from the revelations of St. John, I think, is particularly important to us and useful to us, and it's of course as that book is called. It is a book of revelations, it is a book of visions, it is the Apocalypse of St. John, and so in it we may expect to see some primarily visionary material. And this is the part that particularly seems to me to be appropriate. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And their God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new." It's important for us to remember that there is a principle of renewal, of rebirth, of regeneration in life. And that therefore, no matter how things may have gone in the past, or in the past year, or in the past month, there is an element of newness. And that newness, that eternal renewal, that ongoing process of re-embodiment, of rebirth, not in the reincarnational sense necessarily, but spiritually, is always present. And that really this possibility of the renewal of our view of our energies, of our dedications, is a very, very important thing. Because look how difficult and how onerous, shall we say, just the memory of the last 2.5 years or so is. I don't like to think about it. I'd like to wipe it off the chronological map, therefore, it is important that there should be an ability within us to see a renewal, to see how life and its experiences go on, and how we must not be haunted by what has been, even if that is a fairly recent experience, but that somehow be able to look into that strange region which generally is not available to people, at least so we feel, the future. Who was it? There was a sports figure who uttered so many good things. What was his name?
Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra. Well, I should remember that because, I'm a devotee of Yogi Berra and all of that. But he said that that foretelling is difficult, especially of the future. So that, of course, is fairly evident, but let us say it is really important for us to recognize that the power of real rebirth, regeneration, going forth from the past through the present into the future is something that is available to us and that we should take advantage of. And also that we should not be too greatly influenced by the future, by the past, in the sense of our moving into the future, because there is a mysterious quality, and maybe this is depending on how people view it, I would say this is the work of the Holy Spirit, that behold, I make all things new. And therefore we should not judge the future, or maybe even the present, in terms of the past. Now that doesn't mean that where that is possible, we should not learn from the past. Yes, of course we should learn from it. What else are we going to learn from? But it also means that there is a keynote of newness that enters life. And no matter what may be passing out of our experience, the possibility of renewal, the possibility of going on to the new is always there. And that indeed, since we are particularly reminded today of the passing of our elders and our friends, that not even such circumstances as the circumstance of the putting aside of the physical body at some point, these do not stop the movement of the future into the present, and no doubt from the present into the past. And that therefore we should be alert. That's very important. You know, we may have the greatest insights, revelations, blessings come to us from the invisible realm, but if we are not there listening, if we are not there looking, but we are looking some foolishness that comes out of Washington, D.C., what else comes out of there, or more terribly and frighteningly from Sacramento. That's really the dangerous place, If you go up that way, pass it by, just as you're driving on the highway, Sacramento, just leave it there, Nice name, but that's about it. But, all of these things are there, but we must, with our consciousness, envision the ineffable greatness that runs through all things, and that greatness that will reconstruct and rebuild whatever is in the past and in the present. That there is an ongoing event of renewal, of the re-embodiment of reality that is present in our life and in the world. And if we are able to catch on to that and allow it to impress us in the proper fashion, then we can go on with some degree of confidence and various other blessings into the future. If we don't, then we are carrying the great big gorilla on our back. Having a monkey on your back, well, you magnify it into a gorilla. So we have it on our back. Then we are carrying the past and its various difficulties with us through the present into the future. And that is not really a very good thing to do. Now, of course, we have that curious faculty entrusted to us called memory. And when you get to be of the geriatric memory group, like myself, then you know a good deal about it, because the memory is a very strange thing. You get to a point wherein you are not particularly remembering what happened yesterday. You certainly don't remember that the phone bill came or anything of that sort, but you have a vivid memory of 50 years ago, 60 years ago, all kinds of things like that. You wonder why. Well, probably primarily because something is trying to tell you that whether you know this or not, whether you realize it or not, but your life has been meaningful, and your life is still meaningful. There is meaning there. There are messages there. There are, let's say, statements of eternity which come through time and which are there speaking to you. And that we should pay attention to that. And therefore, I think it's very important that we recognize that I am not of the didactic school of philosophy or of theology. In other words, I don't think that life is constantly here trying to teach you something. That's a kind of a kindergarten version of life. And when you've been taught all this stuff, then what? Then what? So, don't take that too far. Oh, life is a learning experience. Okay, learning what? Learning maybe that you should forget what you have learned. That would be a good one. Because the didactic model, let us say, has its shortcomings. Not that there is not some of it there. If we go through this life, especially for a long time, as I have, and you haven't learned anything, well then, let's say you've been a pretty doggone bad student. You should be. You should get the donkey's ears that we used to give in sort of kindergarten, elementary school to students that didn't learn too well, and they put big ears on them. I never seen it really, but we were always threatened with it. If you're not going to be really a good learner, you're going to get the donkey ears. In any event, I think it's quite important that we keep this in mind, that whatever has been happening was an experience from which we may derive some meaningful deductions for our present and for our future condition. Even if we say, as I am inclined to, because you become a little bit more cynical too with age, So I don't trust what goes on in history. I have studied an awful lot of history, and it's a sad study. Goodness gracious. And the recent history is maybe sadder than the really past history, and that also needs to be kept in mind. But let us say there is a strange fiery thread that runs through history, both our own and of the world. And that thread comes from a good place. It comes from a great place. It can be obscured, and it is. It is somewhat sacrilegiously bowdlerized, very largely by the people who feel that they have authority, have put themselves into a position of authority, and so forth. But there is something there. There is meaning there. And that meaning is ours. So as we get hold of that Ariadne thread that leads through the labyrinth of history and the labyrinth of life, remember that this is our story. It's not his story. That's a kind of a bad pun, but it is our story. And as such, it is to be looked at very sharply and very seriously, because there's something trying to reveal itself to us. It's very difficult to put your finger on it, but somehow it's there. There's the still small voice whispering into our ear. Yes, listen, listen to the message, listen to the meaning, listen to why you are here and where you are going. Be attentive. Don't let the media, God bless them, obstruct your hearing and your perception. But listen and look for that which is beyond all of that. And it will show you a meaning. And with that meaning, you'll be able to face whatever comes in the future. But it's very difficult to do, because the voice of the world is always of a treacherous nature. It tends to lead us astray. It tends us into emotions that don't do us any good, such as fear and its kith and kin, but we need to listen and look beyond that. When the imagery, let's say, of the world comes to us, how would it be to say, I want to see more, I want to hear more? What is coming to me through the media and things of that sort is not enough. I am worthy of more. I am worthy of more than propaganda. I am worthy of more than the false promises of the politicians, the false promises and the real threats. It's a nice little combination, huh? I'm worthy of that. And therefore I will see, and I will hear, and I will experience more and more. Ultimately, I have been promised to be led to something that eye has not seen, that ear has not heard, and has not arisen into the mind of man, because that is the real. Everything else is either unreal or a very partial movement toward the real. So let's try to keep these things in mind. Let us have confidence in the revelatory process in which we are involved, and let's try to listen and try to look and try to sense that which does not ordinarily appear, but which is coming to us nevertheless, and which will be to our benefit. This is very, very important. And almost everything that we do of a spiritual nature is really designed to culminate in that. Why? Because what I'm talking about is real knowing, gnosis. It leads toward gnosis, but we have to be very careful not to be drawn away from that into other avenues which to say the least, are not conducive to the best outcome. And so may the mystery of that which handpicked heaven and earth descend upon us and remain with us always. Amen.